Aviation. An idea that has perplexed the mind of man for perhaps billions of years, but a concept that has only really been pursued in the last 100 years by the Wright brothers, who were right about planes. With the advent of planes came the creation of a great many things, like the parachute, the Mile High Club, and, most importantly, flying. Of course, soaring through the air at upwards of 5,280 feet per mile can be extremely dangerous. Combine this with a faulty landing gear and you've got a real recipe for a cake. But not a good cake, a crash cake. Unfortunately for pilot Tony Coreleone, he had to take a bite of that cake, and it wasn't good. Hi, my name's Christopher J. Robinson, but you can call me Chris. Join me on my journey in investigating one of the biggest aviation disasters to hit Los Santos in recent history, as I uncover the story of action, heroism, self-sacrifice, sheer will, and perhaps even sabotage, in this episode of Insider Report's Miracle on the Alamo Sea.
Until Tony, he come up with a plan. Are we the first ones to ever done this, Tony?
Yes, this has never happened in the
Oh my
history of
God.
history, alright?
Oh! No, I really thought that was it. My whole life flashed before my eyes.
Before I began my journey, I didn't even know there was a journey to journey on. Me and my camera lady Blanche were on the beat looking for stories as usual when she spotted something interesting in the yellow pages. Tony had posted an advert for his new flight company, Air Corleone. We were naturally intrigued by this new company and we had a lot of questions for him. Who, what, where, and when was Air Corleone? We called Tony to schedule an interview, and on May 5th, we went down to his hangar to have a little talk.
And I really appreciate you giving me a call coming out here to do, whatever first chance. So,
Yeah, a
You're
lot
the
of
nice
journalists
man.
in this city, they seem to focus on the robberies, the murders, the seedy side of the city, but I try to highlight the good, the businesses, the events.
Wow, about time. My name's Tony Coreleone. It's very nice to meet you guys. I've been in this business for quite some time now. You know what I'm saying? It's been something I've always dreamed of since I was a child. My father taught me, a lot about airplanes and helicopters when I was younger. I kind of looked away from it for a while and started doing some other things. I'm not the perfect human being, who is in this city, but I
Right.
got my family right here, my staff, my employees, my day ones that have been helping me out ever since, through the hard times, through the rough times, and through the easy times. I wouldn't be here without them.
The interview was going really well. Tony was a great interviewee, but about halfway through the interview, Tony revealed a piece of information that was quite interesting.
Just a couple days ago, we actually had a man who hijacked the plane. It was very emotional for me and my crew.
I can't
We have
imagine.
no idea who it was, and it was very sad. Nobody died. Thanks. For somebody to come to my business like that, it's just very emotional for me, and everybody was okay, so that's all that matters.
As a freelance journalist, I was immediately intrigued. Perhaps there were more stories that Tony was too humble to talk about. If there was, I was going to find them. Follow me as we enter what experts are calling the next chapter. In the next chapter, and by the next chapter I mean this chapter and not the chapter coming up, we went on a helicopter ride with Tony. During this flight, Tony told us about Matthew Payne and how he had strong ties with Air Corleone. So strong, in fact, Mr. Payne had a jet made for him for any private mid-air meetings he may want to go on.
Custom made for Mr. Payne. It's got a nice finish on the inside with tablets, champagne, wine holder, wine cooler. It's pretty nice stuff.
It was obvious that the owner of a solid gold jet would have stories to tell, so we made arrangements to have a talk with Mr. Payne. It was very clear over the phone that Payne was a very serious, well-educated playboy philanthropist, a man of sheer dedication, cunning, and will, a man who will never be deterred from his goals in life and will never back down. Later that day, we met him up in the Vinewood Hills at one of his $3 million properties.
Well, you see, my name is Matthew Payne with Payne Real Estate. You're probably asking, how did I get here? Yes, that is a very good question. Well, it all started with a lot of education. I went to college for 6 months. You understand? 6 months! 6 whole months, Chris. And let me tell you, those 6 months were the longest months and years of my life, Chris. You understand? And then I got my real estate license and I bought some houses and here I am. I own the entire city. My current net worth of my company is $72 million.
Once we got talking, Matthew Payne let loose a little secret about a plane crash that happened on May 4th with him, Harry Barton, and Dmitry Barkov.
And then Harry Brown was screaming, "Oh God! Oh my God! What hour are we gonna get off this plane, Matthew?" And then Dmitry was like making these. I don't know what was happening. And then Tony was just up there screaming. I think the place handled it in a very fantastic manner. I believe Snow was the one that was coordinating the rescue mission. They did a great job. Without them, and without Tony, I don't think I would be sitting here before you.
This crash was just a story we had been looking for, so I set out to find and interview all the people involved. Tony Coreleone, Harry Brown, Dmitry Barkov, Jackie Snow, and Olivia Copper, just to name a few. With all these stories combined, I could put together exactly what happened on the day of May 4, 2020 AD.
Well, you see, my name is Matthew Payne with Payne Real Estate.
My name is Tony Coreleone. Some of you may now know me as Sully Corleone.
My name's Harry fucking Brown, and I'm a survivor.
I became a survivor. On May 4th,
2020.
I had an arranged meeting with Mr. Payne.
I asked Tony, hey Tony, could you take me up in the air?
On Air Corleone, one of his top-of-the-range private jets. The aircraft is beautiful.
Imagine a 5-star hotel.
I bought a private jet just for Tony. Timmy works down there, and he has a very good connections with the private jets. I talked to Timmy. I said, Timmy, I need to buy this airplane for Tony Woney. And I bought it for $7 million.
While mid-flight, enjoying a lovely glass of champagne, chatting over business.
We were in the air, and it was going so smooth. That's the noise that a smooth plane makes, Chris. You understand?
Things took a turn for the worse.
We're sipping wine, we're talking, we're having a good conversation, and all of a sudden... Error. Hold on.
Oh, shit. Hang on, we got a problem.
We all get informed that the landing gear is non-operational.
I kind of knew this is the end for me.
It was scary. It was so scary.
And, oh god, I'm gonna need a second.
We radioed into air control. Air control had the cops come out at the Alamo Sea.
I have 3 passengers on board with me. We have 39 fuel. We're 1,600 feet up in the sky. Engines are doing fine. Landing gear is tapped, working.
Once I got on that frequency, I could hear Captain Corleone explaining he was in a situation where he was running out of fuel. He had passengers on board and needed assistance from A to C to help guide him in and give him a safe landing spot.
Tony, the hero in this story, he come up with a plan.
At this moment, I knew once the landing gear was done, we had to land on the water.
Are we the first ones to ever done this, Tony?
Yes, this has never happened in the
Oh my
history of
god.
history, all right?
Oh! The plan was to get as low as the water as possible and then jump out one by one.
And this is when Tony Woney became the hero that we know that he has become. Tony said,
At this time, I need you to look below your seat and put on your life jackets, okay? I'm a good pilot. I will get you out of this. I will get you back home, all right? Everything is going to be fine, guys, okay?
and then I think I heard a couple of explosions on the engine. Yes, yeah, I believe the engine exploded a few times.
Bank angle,
Okay,
bank
engine
angle,
failures.
bank angle. Slide slow.
One of them jumped.
That's why we couldn't jump out. Dimitri was standing there.
I can't get out!
Yeah, we couldn't get out of the door, so all of a sudden, share!
And unfortunately, the plane spiraled into the lake.
And we were going down in the noises. I can't even describe the noises. It was so loud, like a raging river.
And it hit the bottom. I swam through the plane. There's bottles of champagne floating everywhere. I could hardly see.
Tony actually stayed in the plane despite it being going underwater extremely quickly.
Tony swooped right back down, and Tony grabbed me. And he helped me out of the plane. And then I was able to swim up.
He stayed right up until the end. He could have died.
And I made a dash for the surface. And I made it.
came up. I was approached by Mr. Jackie Snow. Got us medical attention. If it wasn't for that amazing police force and that amazing leader, Mr. Jackie Snow, I don't know what would have happened, to be honest. I don't know what would have happened.
We managed to get everybody out of the water. Everybody was cared for. Nobody was injured to any serious degree. And everybody literally walked away from the scene.
Mr. Coreleone, what would you say to people calling you the biggest hero Los Santos has ever seen?
What would I say to the people calling me the biggest hero that Los Santos has ever seen? Well, I would tell you that I'm actually not a hero. I would tell you that I'm just a normal man, like anybody in the city who cares about others. And I was just doing my job and making sure that I approached the situation with the most professional plan I could, that my main goal was to save their lives. You know, I used to be in the crime world. You know, I used to have a bad rap, a bad record. A lot of the cops didn't like me, but, you know, they appreciate me now. I've changed my life completely, you know, and I've made something for myself. And I'm just your normal guy doing his job, so I'm no hero. I'm just your normal guy, but thank you.